All right. So, Suicide Squad. Well, it was a movie. I can say that for sure. I don't. I don't really know whether I liked it or I hated it. There were parts of it I liked. There were things that I liked about it. There were things that I hated about it, and there were parts. So I guess spoiler alert. I'm gonna just go through and just really quickly say what I liked, what I hated, and just overall give what I thought of it. First of all, let's get this out of the way. The plot was shit, and as a matter of fact, just thinking about this plot right here, I've got to make the pain go away. The plot was so goddamn awful. Like, the holes in it were just everywhere. I don't know how to explain just how bad it was. But it was very... You saw where things were going. You could very clearly see where they were going. And just, everything felt like it was crowbarred right in there just so that you could get it right in there. The characters were there. I guess go in order of least importance. So, first of all, Slipknot had no purpose other than to show us that they could blow up your head. He's like he showed up like 30 minutes in, 15 minutes later, boom, he's dead. Like, thanks for coming. Wow. After that, I guess Croc, he was around. He was there to just do underwater stuff, say one or two lines, and be a bruiser. Not really much to him. You don't really hear much about Katana either, and she was just like... She just shows up, it's like out of nowhere, you get like this much backstory on her, it's like, oh, she's avenging her husband, she has a soul-eating sword, and... Alright, she's Rick Flag's backup, hooray. Good for you, no reason why, just because, okay, sure. Awesome. Diablo had a bigger, but he was just kind of in the background there, he kind of doesn't really come into play until about halfway, 3/4 through the movie. And then, the special effects were awesome. He was probably the most likable of the characters, but he's probably responsible for one of the biggest criticisms of the movie, which is that you didn't nearly get a feel that these were bad guys doing bad things. You got kind of like these are the anti-heroes, even though he had the whole story about how he lost his temper, he whited out, and he killed his family with his fire powers. But he's like also had the infamous line, which everyone seems to hate, which I'm not losing another family. But he served his purpose. Like I said, again, one of the more likable characters, because he seemed like he was like, he didn't want to be there, and for the most of the movie, he wasn't going to be a part of their freaking game. Let's see, who else comes in? Rick Flag is just kind of there. He is exposition elf. He moves the plot along very nicely. Yeah, all right, we're coming here, let's please go over here. Let's go over to the right. All right, now that we're here, we're going to come over here. And we're moving, and we're moving, and we're moving. He has like they kind of sit there and they say, okay, well, he's got his thing with Enchantress, and you could have taken that out and really not much would have been lost. The woman who played Amanda Waller actually was very great at her job. Phenomenal. You got the feeling, you get the feeling that Amanda Waller is the devil in a suit, and that's pretty much how she comes off throughout every point of the movie. I liked Captain Boomerang. Overall, again, not that important. He has a couple of funny lines. He's probably the character that's most true to the character in the comic books. You kind of feel sorry for him because he goes through all this shit, and in the end, everyone gets something except for him. He gets solitary at the end. Spoiler alert again. Just one of those really fuck you moments. But I mean, he was easily the funniest and most entertaining part of it. And then we get to the three headliners. You get Jared Leto, who has been throwing a bitch fit because apparently a lot of his stuff was cut out of the movie. He's not that bad as a Joker. He's not my favorite by a long shot. And his tentative relationship with Harley Quinn worries me as to what they're going to do with the Harley Quinn movie. I mean, if they weren't willing to let David Ayers make Suicide Squad dark, what are they going to do with the Joker and Harley Quinn? I don't know what they left on the cutting room floor. I don't know what it would have added, but I think I got just about enough of him as I could deal. He's a serviceable Joker. I think he still looks stupid. But as a character, he's serviceable. He's not the worst Joker ever. I'm sure. And then there's Harley, who, for most of us, is going to be the main character of the film. She certainly gets the most backstory, or has the most interesting backstory, and Margot Robbie does a great job of being that character. She's totally Harley, all up in it. Again, they cut a lot of the backstory between her and the Joker, but you got enough, and really, if you're going to the Suicide Squad, you already know who Harley is. Harley, with the exception of Jared Leto's Joker, is probably the headline character out of all of these characters. If you know any of them, even as a casual fan, you know Harley. She does a great job at all points. She really gives you that whole how crazy am I kind of vibe. But all in all, she's probably the only saving grace of the movie. And then we get to the actual headliner, Will Smith, as Deadshot. And here's the problem with that. At no point was he ever Deadshot. He was Will Smith playing Deadshot, but he was never Deadshot. He never looked like he was having fun. Whenever you saw him, he just kind of looked... And there was... I don't know how else to explain it, but there was a very Will Smithiness to his character. If you've seen any Will Smith, all of the Will Smith tropes fit very nicely into his performance here. Ben Affleck showed up. The Flash showed up briefly. It was nice. They had the whole Justice League, mini trailer thing in the mid-credits with Amanda and Bruce Wayne talking to each other. They kind of like... I know who you are, well, I know what you're doing kind of deal, which is really true to life. That's probably the most accurate depiction of a relationship in the entirety of the movie. Overall, I kind of feel like this is a low-rent Guardians of the Galaxy, because the soundtrack is phenomenal. The movie is a disjointed mess. And I can't say I would go and see it again in the theaters. I can't say if I'm actually happy that I went to go see it in the theaters. If this is what DC has to offer, I'm glad I skipped the first two movies, and I'll tell you quite honestly, I'm not looking forward to Justice League. I'll go check out Wonder Woman, because that's the one that Geoff Johns apparently took over for. But as far as a letter grade, I mean, Suicide Squad has to get a solid C. It's not a plus, it's not a minus. I didn't love it, Michael. It was a movie, and it was there, and it filled 2 hours, and parts of it made me want to drink. And that's pretty much... all you can say. It wasn't like, the action was alright, so if you like action, this is probably the movie for you. The dialogue goes between alright to terrible to corny, but it's a superhero movie. What do you expect? The plot is shit. The plot is absolute 100% shit. But, for a popcorn action movie, you don't need a whole lot of plot, I guess. But again, if this is what DC is serving up to go up against the Marvel Juggernaut, you guys better tap out now, because you're not going to make it. But that's that's my views of Suicide Squad. I don't know. What did you guys think? Give me a shout out in the comments down below. Hit me up on Twitter at Kamizite. Hit me on, at Faded Saint. Hit me up on Tumblr, kamizite.tumblr.com, and I don't know. Maybe if there's a extended version, or if there's a Joker cut or something, I might look into getting my hands on that and then watching that and seeing if I like it any better. But I should have gone and seen Star Trek Beyond. I think I would have felt better about that decision. So, anyway, later.